Welcome to Dental Business RX. Practice success in 30 minutes or less.
Thank you for calling ABC Dental.
For this week's episode, I have the privilege of interviewing my good friend, MGE Power Program graduate, and one of our senior seminar speakers, Mr. Rushi Trivedi. Rushi and his wife, Dr. Shilpa Trivedi, have been MGE clients for over 20 years, signing up not long after Rushi left Wall Street to work with Shilpa and build up their first practice. And I have to say, as we did the planning for this episode, these guys do things so well that it was tough to pick which topic to focus on. I've met many members of Rushi's team. It's some of the nicest, most competent staff I've ever met. The training systems that they have, what they know about promotion, as well as how to manage multiple large practices that are in the top 0.5% of practices in the United States. There were so many options we could have picked from to talk about. So after all of that, we settled on opening and acquiring additional locations. We had to pick something, right? Mm-hmm. And again, this is just another area where Rushi is an expert. And before I bring him on, I have to say that what he and his wife, Dr. Shilpa Trivedi, have accomplished over the last 2 decades is truly astonishing. When they started the MGE program, they had 2 small kids and 1 practice. And now they have 4 offices with more on the way, and both their kids are dentists. And despite being so hyper-productive, they maintain a work-life balance that would be the envy of many people. And again, we don't get into specific numbers on the show, as it's a public podcast. But as I mentioned earlier, let's just say their first 2 offices easily rank in the top 0.5% of practices in the United States in volume, revenue, and with great customer service. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Rushi Trivedi. Rushi, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jeff, this is awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I had to mention your company because your company is amazing, and you want to help many people, and the same goal I have to help many people. So let's do it.
Well, I love having you here.
Yeah.
All right. So probably the best place to start is maybe tell people a little bit about your story.
Yes. So I am born and raised in India, and I'm a civil engineer from India. I came to US. I did my master's in computer science and finance. My wife is a dentist from India, and she's a prosthodontist also. And we both got married, came to America. And she went to NYU. She started her office, scratch. I mean, she bought someone's office, a very good friend. Mm-hmm. And she took it to a good level, helping.
When did she buy the office? Like what year?
That was 94.
Okay, so she took it over in 94.
Yeah, she graduated in 91. Mm-hmm. Worked as an associate for same doctor for 2 years. And then this doctor said, let's start a new operation. And that's how.
And so she took over the office she was in.
But when he started, he didn't want to continue because he's successful. So he said, you run it now. Yeah.
And so while she's doing all this, you're on Wall Street.
Yes. And I'm never home. I was in Boston. I was in England. I was in all over place. So, and my wife, she loves to work. So when I say work, she loves to help patients. Like she just, you can just feel it. It's very spiritual to see her working. So she would work 60 hours a week because she's building up her office, helping patients, and I'm working. And fast forward 3-4 years, we have a child and we don't have time. And that's when something occurred to us that I can't continue this way. What happened, the cycle is, a major cycle is like, let's figure out how to make money and then we'll raise children.
Okay.
So let's figure out how to raise children and then we make money. Kind of reverse. So for that reason, one of us has to quit. And I asked Shilpa to quit. She said, no, you quit. And I agreed with her because she loves patients. And I just was working to make money. So I decided to quit. It took me 4 years. I made a decision in 97, 2001. I'm done. And I'm home now and I realize it's not fun.
Sure.
Like you have to do something. So very wise man suggested, why don't you work with your wife? And if I'm going to join my wife, I had this viewpoint that she had skill set and it should be accessible to many more people.
Okay.
Not just limited number of people. So I learned in Wall Street that if you want to make million, you only find a person who's making 20 million, 20 times higher than what you're looking for. Because you get the right set of advice. So I found some doctors who had We're helping many, many patients, like big scale, all the services. So what they advised me was amazing. They said the most important part of any business, be a dentistry or be a Starbucks, is training. And that we weren't doing.
I see.
In our office. Training was just look at that person and watch it. Sit next to this person for 5 hours and watch it.
I see.
So there was no formal way of training.
So then you went into the office in 2001?
One.
Okay, so you went in
2009, 2001.
2000, 2001, you go into the practice. I know that you doubled it.
Yeah.
After going in there. She
Yes.
was doing okay before.
Yes.
You doubled the practice. And then I know we met for the first time in 2002.
Yes.
Yeah.
2 years later. That was a blessing. You sent me a postcard to your company, and I called you, and I came to your first seminar. Within 45 minutes of your seminar, Dr. Winterreich was
Yeah,
giving,
with Greg. Yeah.
Greg, I realized, wow, there is a business school for dentists.
Huh.
Because my wife has a 10 years of dental school, 6 in India, 2 in New York,
Right.
right? And no business training. Like business, what business means, like, for me, business, if I have good coffee, I want a lot of people to have it.
Sure.
If I make good oranges, I want a lot of people to have it. And that's business to me. If I have a good skill, I want a lot of people to have it. So that I found in your company. And
Yeah, wow.
the rest is history.
Yeah, it's amazing it was that long ago. I should mention also, because sometimes people hear someone's been a client for 20 years and they're thinking like, what are they doing for 20 years? You finished your training years and years and years ago.
Yeah, by
that's-
2005.
Yeah, people have to know that. Because otherwise they think, well, they have to come back and now you come back for while you're speaking at a
Yes.
lot of our seminars
Yes.
now. And just this is for people listening, so you don't think this is like a 20-year program. But I know you're down this week. You're bringing some staff to
Yes.
one of the seminars.
Yes.
So, yeah.
My daughter.
Who's a dentist?
Yes, she's a dentist.
Yeah.
She's the youngest dentist to graduate. She was 22 and
Wow.
became a dentist.
When she finished?
Stony Brook, yeah. Wow. 21 and some months.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right, so we settled on, because again, as I mentioned in the intro, you guys have, I looked at some of your training forms you were showing me a few months back. And I'm
Yes.
going, wow, people would kill for these things.
Yes.
I've met tons of your staff over
Yes.
the years. They're great people.
Yes.
And they're all very dedicated and they love the practice. They're
Yes.
good people. So, but we settled on multiple offices.
Yes.
So, because you guys now have 4.
We do have 4.
Yeah, you started with 1, you had 4. And what is the eventual plan? How many do you plan on having altogether?
We have helped so far 150,000 patients
Wow.
and in New York City. And the population is about 9 million. So target is 2 million people.
Wow. Okay, so then what would be the math on that? That would be, well, let's see, at least 6 times 6. Wow, that's okay. Wait, my brain isn't quite working
Yes.
here so far. So at least what's
Probably
more than
6
10 or
times.
15 times what you're doing now.
Yeah.
Wow.
And again, every dentist is a tremendous product. But what I have 2 actually. I just popped in my mind because I worked in Wall Street, and money was the only goal.
Right.
So now the goal has changed in the last 4 or 5 years, and the only goal I have is kind of sounds crazy, but find people who want to get enhanced.
Okay.
Like get trained. They want to do well in life, which is team members.
Sure.
Since I'm only going to have people who want to get enhanced. They're not joining me for paycheck or some sick pay or something.
So they're looking for personal growth in their life.
Yes.
They want to become more competent and better.
Yes.
And that's a key criteria for you in hiring.
And see, since I have that team who are willing to get enhanced, and the second part I want to give extreme customer service. Like extreme is like they come to my office, our office, and say, what just happened? So you combine these 2 things, which I don't see it's in a operation. So our motivation is not to just treat patient and take their money. Just give them superior experience.
Right.
Back up our treatment. We are open 100 hours a week in phone call. They can access us anytime.
So the phones are available 100 hours a week.
Yeah, like 90 to precise. Yeah.
That's right. I remember you telling me about this.
Yeah.
This was years ago.
Yes.
You had, see, this is why this was the problem as to what to pick.
Yes.
You know what? Heck with it. We're going to talk about A little bit. Because you had a thing, your first office was in Queens. You now have an office in Chelsea, and then you have an office in Little Neck and
Great
Great Neck.
Neck and Little Neck,
Okay.
yeah.
So I think you were telling me this about with the Queens office initially. It might have been when you had Chelsea already.
Yes.
But it was a new patient thing. You noticed that when you were just answering the phones till whatever, 5 or 6 o'clock, you got a certain number of new patients. But then you were looking at how many calls you guys were missing after hours and on Sunday. And then you had the phones start getting answered for more hours.
Yes.
And you saw, what was it, like a 30 or 40 new patients a month increase or something?
Yeah, it's a big...
By spending money to have the phone answered.
Yes.
Okay.
And the viewpoint I carried, whatever I didn't like in the environment, service-wise, so I never liked to hear a voicemail. Like, leave we are very important to us. So I said, since I don't like it, many people don't like it.
Yeah, I agree.
So I said, I'm going to have people pick up phone morning 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day.
Wow.
Monday, including Saturday, Sunday.
So you have, you're basically answering the phone 50 hours a week. Let's say you guys were answering at 40 before. So for those 50 hours, you're paying what, maybe?
When I started, it was always minimum wages. It was probably $7 that time.
Okay, but let's say you were even spending $500 a week or $600, $2,000 a month.
Right.
But to get an additional 30 plus new patients, the acquisition cost on that is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. It's much better than any other marketing.
Yeah, well, you didn't do any additional marketing,
Yes.
right? That was just having someone answer the phone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's crazy.
And each individual who answers the phone, see, just since we're talking about
Sure,
new
go ahead.
patient, there's a lot of leakage on, so patient calls and your person who picks up the phone doesn't know how to make a solid appointment. And there's a whole confirmation team doesn't know how to confirm it.
Right.
Right. So you may get 100 calls and only 20 will show up.
Right.
So we train our team at your company. So we get 100 calls. We'll make probably 80 appointments and 60 will show up.
Okay. So you brought, again, just with a little bit of training.
Yes.
Yeah. Now this is crazy. It's just crazy how much of a change you can get from something
Yes.
so small. And I should also mention, because again, I know we're going to talk about, and we will get to this, but, so you went into the first office with Shilpa. And you built that one up, and
Yes.
you were there quite a bit. And then I know you trained, because you've been very heavy on training. Because you
Very
trained
heavy.
initially a few executives, and then I saw you back off a bit.
Yes.
And then you focused on office number 2.
Yes.
Went in there, bought the real estate,
Yes.
built that up, had it
Yes.
beautifully done. I
Yes.
remember your fights with the co-op board.
Co-op board, yeah.
in
They
New York
won't let
City.
me build.
Yeah, but you got through that.
Yes.
And I think when you rebuilt the Queen's office, even you were the general contractor, weren't you?
I was managing, my friend was a contractor, but I told him that for 9 weeks, I run the show.
Wow. Yeah, and that got done like faster than ever.
Yeah, we built 16 ops in 9 weeks, which is, he told me it will take 9 months.
Well, yeah, New York City.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. So then you build that up. You get execs in both the offices. You're at a point where you don't actually have to be in the office much anymore.
Yes, that was the goal because there's a starting point, and you this is my viewpoint. You have to decide where you're going, like
Sure.
Alaska, right? And you're in New York, Florida, Tampa, and Alaska you go in December. So you know 2 things: where you are and where you're going. And if you're going to Alaska in December, you need to have
You're going to be frozen, number
Yes,
one.
you have to have inventory what you have now.
Sure.
And you look at your wardrobe and say, "Oh, I don't have winter clothes." Then you go get winter clothes. Same thing in business.
Sure.
You know exactly where you are, where you want to go. You take current inventory of your skill set, and you build up a skill set.
Right.
And how do you know what skill set do you know? Because you're talking to people who are 20 times bigger than you.
Interesting. It's a very interesting concept. I hadn't even thought. I mean, I've people have possibly plumbed into that concept before, talking to somebody who knows more than me.
Yes.
But I like that criteria.
Yes.
If I have, if I want to have 5 of something, talk to somebody who has 100 of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then I know also you were mentioning to me, since you guys are in this huge expansion phase now, because you're not in the office,
No.
right? You're kind of the visionary at this point.
Yes.
And just so I should mention, how many hours a week is Shilpa currently working?
Yeah. So she started with 63 hours a week.
Right.
And I found you guys. Within 3 years, she dropped to 38 hours a week.
Okay.
And currently, she doesn't have to work at all. She has 10 associate Oh, sorry. She has 10 associates,
Wow.
9 specialists, or something like that.
So now you can tell her to quit.
Yeah. And that is a fight going on between me and my wife.
I think fight's a strong word.
The fight or discussion or like I want her to quit.
Sure.
Because I mean, this is very cliche. Everybody wants to say, but before I die, I want to touch 20 million people.
Wow.
Like my speaking and a lot of things I want to do. And she's working. I can't go away. I want to be in India for 6 months, or I want to be in England for 6 months, or I want to be in Tampa for 6 months. I can't do it right now. So our sweet argument, when are you going to quit?
Well, see, you quit before,
I quit in 2005.
so now she can quit this time.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop.
Oh,
I'm
from the
going to
walls.
get us in trouble if I don't stop right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, good. So, yeah, because you now have the 4 practices. You're looking at adding additional ones. And you told me yesterday that you now have, 14 executives in training?
Yes.
And the idea is you're going to have these people all go out to these other offices
Yes.
as you open them, right?
So what have we learned from you, your company, MGE, is there is a recall area, there is a reactivation area, there's a new patient area, there is an insurance area, there is a training. So what I'm creating executive for each area.
I see.
Super executives. Like my goal is this year, I mean, that's a top goal, but I want 25 exec.
Wow.
So we are at 14. Maybe next year I'll have 25. But these people will be super specialists in each area, like hygiene. And my idea is then a local manager. So training is my forte, right?
Sure.
Training.
Yeah.
So these guys will, let's say we have this girl, new patient, super bright. So she'll manage all across office new patient.
I see, between all the different practices. And then I guess it helps too if you pick up a practice in, I don't know, Westchester or something like this. You already have a trained manager. You can just drop in there.
Yes.
And they know they have the company culture down because they've worked in your Queens office or your Chelsea office or something like this.
Yeah. These are beautiful people I have.
I mean, what's cool about this is where you guys started, right, is not that different from where a lot of people start.
No, it's same exact.
Yeah, it's just 2 people in one practice that's, moderately successful. And you've managed to turn that into, what kind of a burgeoning empire almost, which is kind of cool.
And so the difference between practice A and my practice is if I knew something's going to work and anyone opposes me in my team, I will explain and I'll remove them very fast.
Okay.
So I don't take – the viewpoint is like I'm playing football and I'm going to only apply football rules. Someone wants to play basketball. It's not a bad game, but they cannot play with me in football ground.
I see.
I had a very simple logic. So everyone must get trained, doctor, hygienist.
And we met a lot of your team. I know you've trained most of them. And you do I know you do some training in your own practice or in the practice as well. You sent a lot of your team, especially your executives, down here.
All of them.
And then you also do some of the online training as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the DDS Success.
DDS Success. Oh, man. That is mind-blowing. DDS Success, I think you got 60, 80, 100 hours. I don't know what.
I think we're now, I don't know how much, we have a lot of content that's in the hopper now too, because we have the finance courses and the sales line course and other things as well.
So DDS Success is just mind-blowing. The reason it's not just lectures, it's talk. It's a, what do you call, drill or a pairing off, and you see how it occurs in a real environment. So every single team member has kind of steps. Watch this video and then answer this question. Watch this video and go work on it.
Right.
So, and the most advantage of DDS Success is it's the same source.
That's true.
See, if you have a team member training other people, and then your new team member training, the source changes.
Interesting. I hadn't even thought about that. So I see what you're saying. So if you have employee A training your staff and then you switch to employee B, there's going to be slight nuances where you're going to have differences in training methodology. Yeah.
I believe in having the same exact source for every single. Then
everybody's getting the same thing.
Then only you can develop culture.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this is cool. This is cool. Okay. So now I've kind of gone all over the place here. Let me get to, so now buying, because this is an area in which you're expert, picking the right office, right?
Yes.
So when you're looking at an office, you're especially now, you guys are aggressively looking.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When you're looking at a practice, what are some of the characteristics that make it an ideal acquisition target for you?
So I like street level. That's my first target.
Street level.
I can put a big sign.
I see. Okay.
A lot of traffic I want. I'm willing to pay premium for real estate for that.
Okay.
Right? So if you see my all office are right on your face, kind of. So that's first criteria.
Okay.
A lot of foot traffic I want. Plus, we're creating a brand in New York now, right? To prefer dental care.
Yeah, prefer dental care, yeah.
So I want to people like Coca-Cola. They see my signs.
I see.
Kind of things. So that's the first criteria. Second criteria is a dentist. Is he willing to stay or not?
Okay.
Yeah. Very important for me.
How does that affect your decision? Let's say it's a doctor who's, 70 years old and they're looking to bail in the first month or two.
The reason, because I'm looking at multiple offices at the same time, right? So I know my acquisition date. Let's say doctor is not willing to stay with me, then my acquisition, I'm going to keep it a little longer.
Okay.
Because I have to find a doctor, train. I don't want to buy a practice and then find stuff.
Right.
I want to, so if doctor is staying, it's a no-brainer. I qualify with you guys and I can just buy within next month.
Got it.
Right? But doctor is not willing to stay, then I know my lead time.
I see.
Yeah.
Because then, okay, he or she is leaving, so then fine. How much lead time would you give yourself to find the right associate?
I would say 4 to 6 months.
4 to 6 months.
Yeah, because it's organized chaos I want to create, not just unorganized chaos. So, yeah, it may take longer and I will lose a practice, but I won't deviate from that. Because
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And I like peaceful expansion, like calm expansion.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. And this is what I was going to ask you. So when you're the associates that you have working in the other practices, have they all worked at least in one of your two larger offices?
Not necessarily.
Not
Going
necessarily.
forward, I can't have it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the case.
Yeah.
Right now, like our Little Neck office, one of our doctor from Manhattan goes there.
I see.
But that will unmark my current thing. So just to give, so I'm looking for practice. Then I'm willing to pay only 60% of the gross, not more than that.
Okay, I want to highlight this point if you don't mind. But so as far as the algorithm you're using for pricing, you don't want to go above 60.
Yes. So it's a wrong comparison, but I have a crew. Let's say construction crew, right? I don't want to buy fancy new buildings. I buy a fixer-upper. I put my crew to work in the building and fill up the gap because I'm good at it. So I'm finding practice 60% lower. So right now I'm profitable, like in terms of I'm buying cash right now, but if I'm taking money. So then I'm buying the 60% gross. If I have lead time of 6 months. I may lose some practice in the process. I'm willing to do that. But the first two practice we just bought recently, right? I had managed a train 6 months before.
And, okay, so this was, again, we talked about you training all the executives.
Yeah.
That's a reason.
Yeah. And like this two practice, I realized the doctor may not work out even they're willing to stay. So we had to remove them. So that created a little, so now my logic is I need 6 month lead time.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, and the executive that you placed into these new practices, which office did they work out of when you were training them?
They were training at Flushing office.
So were they working in Flushing as
Yeah,
well?
the way I train in my office, let's say they do the most basic recall pose, right? And recall pose, they can only leave when the stats are rising,
I see.
right?
So you won't promote somebody without up statistics.
Yes.
I see.
So then they go to dental assisting pose, the insurance pose, the checkout pose, scheduling pose, reception pose. Each post is about 6 to 8 weeks they take.
So you're cycling this person through different jobs in the office
Yes.
to make sure that they understand what's going on. Okay.
And then last 2 months will be a manager role, kind of assistant manager role.
Interesting. And then you kind of just move them into the new place.
Yeah, I've done this like 4 or 5 times successfully.
Wow. No, this is cool. This is cool.
Like that or, yeah.
Yeah. So then as far as, so you've got, you don't want to pay more than 60%.
Yes.
You want something street level so people can see you in the street. Are there any other points when you're doing due diligence where you go, I don't want to take this place now, or
So,
excuse me.
no Medicaid.
Okay.
Zero. I don't hope they'll remove that. And if there's a Medicaid, I'm going to go for 35% or 40%.
Okay, so you're going to pay a lower premium.
Much lower, because then I have to remove all these patients, right?
I see.
Yeah. So not that we don't like Medicaid, we want to help them. And actually one of the goals my wife has, that after we reach certain level, we're going to have a Medicaid office with no intention to have profit, just give them superior service.
Yeah, we had a client in North Carolina do that.
Yeah.
If you remember him, I won't mention his name because I haven't cleared this with him,
Yeah.
but he had a bunch of Medicaid in his practice when he first came on, and he didn't. It just from a financial perspective, it didn't work.
Didn't
trying to
work,
run a
yeah.
private practice, but he wanted to help all those folks.
Yeah.
So he got successful, and he and two other doctors in town built a Medicaid practice.
Yes.
And they would spend a day or two a week there. So
Yes.
most of them each spent a day.
Yes.
And they practiced there, and they took care of it, and it was done more out of a desire to help, not an effort to figure out how to make money out of doing that. So,
we were definitely doing that. We have a plan.
so what if there's a lot of HMOs in the practice?
No.
Would that lower your?
So 60% is a mark, and this HMO Medicare will be discounting.
I see. So then, okay, so if 60% is your starting point, and then if there's any additional really lower discounted type plans, it's going to lower what you
Yeah, I'll discount it accordingly. I'll look at
Got it.
if they have like 40% HMO, then I'll discount accordingly.
Got it.
Because I when I go in whatever profit margin they have, let's say they're making 10, whatever number, I want to keep that.
Okay, you want to keep it as profitable as it was.
Right. So I'm growing as kosher, no tension, same our own money.
I see.
See, it may take longer, but it will be solid growth.
Well, and I think the interesting thing too, and I was going to ask you about this, is this is the major difference. So you're effectively becoming like and with you and Shilpa and now your son Sahil, who's one of the key players in all of
Yes.
this, it's becoming almost like in a way a doctor-run group of practices, right? Like what they call like a DDSO, like a DSO owned by
Yes.
doctors. But in a lot of cases with DSOs, they're heavily funded by PE,
Yeah.
private equity. So they're only looking for practices that are doing, big bucks. They want at least 1.5 million a year and
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Whereas in your case, you're looking at some office that's, maybe beaten up a bit, hasn't done real well because you're confident you can go in and get this thing
Yes.
really killing
Yes.
it, right? Which I guess it led me to two questions. First one, I would have to imagine with the two offices that you have that are already doing very high volume, have you had corporate come in and offer to buy your practice? I'm sure you have.
A lot. We were offered 1.22 million.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it was crazy. And
Yeah.
I knew it didn't, there was just an offer.
Right.
But it just happens. Yeah.
That's crazy.
And
So
I thought, how would they run an office if they're going to pay me this much money? I had no.
I think, because you already have specialists in
Yeah.
your practices, because in a lot of cases, they'll add specialists, add more insurances, add a bunch of this, that. I don't understand it personally.
Me too. Yeah.
The whole, you understand the financial side of it because that's your area, right? But it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I think financially, since I know Wall Street, as you mentioned, the goal is recapitalize, means like just keep selling it to new people.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's yeah. I think that's what's happening with a couple of the newer DSOs now is because initially it would be DSO would just buy you out and you'd stay on as an employee. Then it became DSO would buy 80% of the practice, leave you with 20, you stay 5 years, and then at the end of 5 years, they'll buy the other 20 based upon how the practice is doing. The newer thing I've seen is 70% to the doctor immediately. Doctor keeps 20%, 10% goes into the DSO. So then the doctor has an interest in the DSO.
Yes.
So when the DSO recapitalizes, the doctor makes big bucks.
Yes.
The problem is the DSO has to get to the point where it's going to recapitalize and someone wants to pay money for it.
And as cliche, the whole goal my wife has to help people.
Right.
So she's not intending to sell out anytime soon.
Well, there's no reason to really with the direction you guys are going.
Because this is a medium, like it's not charity, but she thinks it's a philanthropy activity to help. She thinks this is her duty to provide patient good service. It's a different ball game. Like,
It's a very unique viewpoint.
yeah.
Yeah.
She works 11-hour a day. Wow. When she works. She doesn't have to.
Right.
Right. And she just works from as if she's working for some church or something. That's the viewpoint she works.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that communicates to the patients.
Yeah.
too.
Oh
They
man.
can
If you
that
see,
she
we are
really
the
cares.
highest rated dental office in New York City.
That's true. You have more reviews than any other.
4,000 reviews.
4,000.
Yeah, between two offices. Wow. And I think pretty soon, the next 2 years, we could be 10,000.
Wow.
Because service, and if you look at our reviews, like they love my wife, they love my doctor, they love my team. Nobody's saying good margins or quality dentistry. The service.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what keeps the place growing,
Yeah.
right? But yes, so it's interesting because you're effectively starting a doctor-run DSO.
Yes.
But, and I know I know that kind of might give you a twitch because DSO, that has a bad connotation. But you're doing it the way a DSO doesn't do it. They won't go and buy that small. They wouldn't buy any of the practices you've bought.
No.
Because they're too small and they don't know how to scale them. Whereas you know how to actually scale these things.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like the Little Neck practice, and I like to buy real estate.
I was going to ask you about that because I think you own the real estate in your first two offices, right? And then you will work to eventually, I guess, do the others. Yeah.
We also know how to run big offices, 13, 14 operatories office. So one of the goal is in Manhattan, I want 10 office, each 15 operatories.
Wow.
The reason people deserve good service.
Yeah, I agree. So these people will be covered from Battery Park all the way up to Central Park West, maybe up to the Upper East Side.
Yes. Patients come to our office just to hang out.
Wow.
They just want to be there, have a cup of coffee, chat with our staff. Actually, it's funny, the demand to speak to our team is so much. So I told Sahil, my son, that we should have 1 or 2 people just for talking to patients. The job is just chat. Socialize.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so I got to keep us on topic. Otherwise, I'll keep jumping all over the place here.
We are jumping.
Okay, so we looked at the basic criteria you're looking at with an office, what price point you want to pay. So let's say you've purchased a practice and the doctor is willing to stay for a year or two, right? What's the first employee? It may have employees, right?
Yeah.
So I imagine you interview some, you might keep some don't fit.
Yes.
But what's the first trained employee you're going to put in there?
Manager.
Okay.
Highest possible level, which is manager.
Okay.
Yeah. And as I mentioned, I will not buy practice until I have manager trained, regardless of they have manager or not.
Interesting. Okay. So that's that's kind of a deal breaker for you. You got to put the manager in there.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say an offer comes in, and it's a good deal, but if I don't have manager, I won't go in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
The reason why at this point we don't need chaos, like running around. Like we need organized growth.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So now, sorry. Go ahead.
Otherwise, my son has to work 200 hours a week. He's already working 80 hours a week.
Well, he's early on in his career, so he's doing his thing. Yeah. Okay. So then, if let's say someone else is listening to this and they think, I would love to buy additional offices.
Yes.
What would you suggest that they do?
So this is the blueprint I'll give. Don't buy office just for sake of buying it.
Okay.
First, not maximize, because your current location, you're missing so much revenue, right? When, let's say, our example, before finding you, we're doing X, same location, we find you and we're doing 20X.
Right.
So my viewpoint was, I'm not going to buy a new office until I can potentially helping every single patient in my current system.
Okay.
Right, that's the first goal. So like Chelsea, you know how mega it is, Flushing. So then I did it, like within, after finding you, within 6 years, we had 2 offices running it quite good space.
Yeah.
With my almost zero involvement. Zero means like day-to-day operations. So that I'm not changing. Like my son or my wife or my daughter doesn't have to get involved too much. So it has to be run by team. And if it has to be run by team, the team has to be competent, right? So if team has to be competent, then I have to train them before I acquire a practice. So this is the route I'm following. So that we figured out that we train managers. Right now I'm looking for 4 or 5 managers to be trained. Then we realized if the dentist doesn't want to stay, and at this point we can afford to have a dentist on a payroll just for training. So now Sahil is looking for my son is looking for 2 dentists who will be ready for next office. This is a new thing just happened in the last few months.
So if you're a dentist and you're looking for a job in the New York City area,
We would love to have you if your goal is to help others and use your dental skills, and money always comes when you have
Sure.
your goals. We are there for you. Yeah, we already have 8 or 9, and our dentist Jeff stays with my God, 20 years, 15 years.
right? Which I guess I'd want to I wanted to ask you this because this is if I were talking to because I've talked to a lot of doctors, right? And one of the primary arguments with investing in training team members is, well, I don't want to spend all this money on this person and then have them quit.
Yes.
That's the big. So what is your answer to that? Because you've trained so many staff and you've invested a lot into it. And obviously, it's paid dividends. But
Yes.
what's your response to that?
Again, go back to my. I don't want chaos. I want beautiful thing around me. I like beautiful people around me. So even if I don't, but this is not everybody should do it, but I'm doing for myself. I want lovely things around me. So, but not financially makes sense. So now financial part. If you have untrained person in your position, let's say for sake of numbers, you spend 5,000 training one person,
Okay.
right? Let's Dr. A doesn't spend 5,000. And he could have potentially helped X number of patients and earn additional profit of, let's say, $50,000. He will lose that 50.
Okay.
Dr. B trains and spends $5,000. Now there's a productivity member and he will make 50. So I saw that very initially. So not training a person costs tremendous money. For money and then upsets,
Interesting.
chaos.
Right.
So I entered from the viewpoint of not saving money to from the viewpoint of not having chaos.
And definitely whatever you're doing when you're hiring,
Yes.
because again, like I said, and I'm not just saying this to be nice. I've met a lot of your team,
Yes.
and some of the nicest people I've ever met. They're just like you said, beautiful. Inside, they're just beautiful
Yeah.
people. They're great people. And that's one of the things that I've seen that's very important is your how you select your team members. And the hoops they have to go through to be a part of the team.
Yes.
And I like that idea that the person has to actually want to get enhanced themselves. Like they have to want to train
They have to
as to
want
be a member of your team. That seems to go a long way because I've met team members that you've had for over 20 years.
Yes.
Like
Jalissa, 27 years.
Oh gosh. yeah, that's when you know you're getting old.
Like a lot of my staff member, I got them married. I went to the children. The children are in high school.
Well, and I met your kids when they were little.
Yes.
And I met Jalissa, I met her, your first manager,
Yes.
in 2002 or
She's
3.
probably 19 or something.
Whoa. Okay. All right. Well, I guess that's all right. Well, okay, Rushi, I think we hit it on the head pretty good here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I super appreciate having you on,
Yes.
right? Very, very much. And what I'll do for anybody listening, I'll put a link to, you mentioned, we talked about DDS success. I'll put a link to that on the episode webpage, as well as the MGE Power Program, which has the training. Any parting words you'd want to leave people with?
So, if you're going to do something, do very properly, right? If you're going to, I'm not promoting you guys. That's not the goal here I have.
I mean, that's okay if you want to promote.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. It's fine. Go ahead.
No, it's not the goal.
No, I get it.
So the viewpoint I carry is, if I see a gold mine and I got enough gold, it becomes my responsibility to tell others where's the gold, right? So similarly, the MGE and JDSX is a gold mine. Like every single friend I've introduced to you has done extremely well.
That's true.
Yeah. So it's sound promotion, and it's not. My children did your training. My family did your training. So I have a friend my cousin nephew in India did your training. He's a food business, and he still did your training. So it just works. So my final thing is, by practice at 60%, train a manager, buy a location which you can see, not in the big buildings, and just grow. And through you, they can contact me
Okay.
if they want to.
I love it. I love it. Rushi, thank you so much for being on. It's so
I
appreciated.
love it. Thank you, Jeff. You're awesome, man.
Oh, thank you again. And if you want to know more about MGE, we have those links on the episode webpage. And if you want to know more about MGE, you can call us at 800-640-1140 or find us online at mgeonline.com. Folks, that's all we have for you this week. Have a great week, and we will see you at the next episode.